Hello everyone. You know how I like to sing these intros to the show recently. Yeah, I decided to do that again today. Hello everyone. Welcome to It's a Wonderful Podcast episode 39. We are carrying on with Western Month here in January 2019. I am Morgan Robinson, as I always am, because I don't change my name. Unlike some people might change their name. I'm not one of them. With me as always is Nolan Dean. Hello.
Hi, I'm Nolan Dean, and I love that you sing the intro. In fact, I'm hoping It's a Wonderful Intro becomes a karaoke entry.
I mean, it'd just be me going, hello. But, yeah, it's possible. It's possible. Nice karaoke song. What is your karaoke song? I'm now interested.
Ooh, probably Don't You Forget About Me.
Ooh, okay. It's not a bad one.
Yeah.
It's not a bad one.
It used to be Take On Me, but I can't hit those notes anymore.
No, you are not. No. There's not even. It doesn't even warrant trying something like Take On Me. But we're not here to talk about karaoke on this fine cold day. We are here to talk about another Western, another John Ford Western. We started this month with a John Ford Western, and we are coming back to one for this one. We are talking My Darling Clementine from 1946 with Henry Fonda as Wyatt Earp. So, first things first, I think I really like John Ford Westerns.
I think you do, and first things first for me, I like this more than Rio Bravo.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure of that, first of all. You liked it more than Rio Bravo. So this week we will not have a horrendously negative Nolan all episode, even though that was quite entertaining, I must admit, but yeah. My Darling Clementine. The gunfight at the OK Corral is obviously, it's a huge deal if you look into the history of the Old West. It's kind of seen as I don't know, maybe it's kind of seen as a key moment just in terms of creating the image of the Old West, lawmen against outlaws and such like that. This movie is not historically accurate in the slightest way. However, there is a gunfight at the OK Corral with the Earps and the is it Clanton?
Something like that, and I was curious about the historical accuracy because Doc Holliday's in this.
I mean, Doc Holliday's involved. I don't think Doc Holliday actually fought at the OK Corral. He certainly didn't. Okay, spoilers. He certainly didn't die at the OK Corral like he does in this movie. In fact, there's a lot of stuff like that. Like the Earp brothers' ages are like switched, and the one James Earp who dies at the beginning, who's like murdered. He was never murdered. It was actually Morgan Earp that was murdered. I don't know why John Ford did this.
He was just exercising his creative right.
I mean, an interesting thing I did find out was that John Ford actually knew Wyatt Earp when Ford was younger, because Wyatt Earp only died in like the 20s. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. And apparently, the actual gunfight in this is very similar to what Wyatt Earp described to John Ford when John Ford was a bit younger. But I don't know, John Ford's one of those directors that's kind of temperamental and kind of stubborn. And he had a lot of shouting matches, apparently, with the producer Darryl F. Zanuck on this movie, who was, of course, the head guy at 20th Century Fox at the time. And it actually resulted in John Ford not carrying on with Fox, because he had kind of a bad time dealing with Zanuck or Zanuck or however you want to pronounce.
Some things never change then.
Some things never changed. No, some things never changed. Director and producer conflicts are still very much central. But first impressions on My Darling Clementine from you, Nolan, and why is it better than Rio Bravo?
It's better than Rio Bravo because it's not made out of spite, for one reason.
That's
Secondly,
true.
It's a lot more streamlined. It's a way better paced. It's easier to follow. It's not full of John Wayne wanking himself off on camera.
Oh dear. Oh, nobody wants to see that, please. Remove that image.
Oh Christ, no, I'm thinking about it.
Remove the image. See, you have brought this up. You can only blame yourself.
I know, but this was just... It's a simple revenge story. This is like a mission in Red Dead Redemption as a movie.
It really kind of is. It really kind of is, especially in there's a certain part of Red Dead Redemption, or Red Dead Redemption 2 at least, where you become a deputy sheriff for a bit. And that's it's pretty much what the Earps do in this one. Although in real life, I believe it was Virgil Earp who actually became the marshal of Tombstone rather than Wyatt Earp like this movie. But, you have to have Wyatt Earp in there, Henry Fonda. Henry Fonda, by the way, is great. I love Henry Fonda. He's so charismatic and just naturally very... He's kind of endearing. He's a very, very heroic guy, but in a very pleasant way.
Yep.
Not in a John Wayne way. Not in an 80s action hero kind of way. He's in more of a Jimmy Stewart way.
Mm-hmm.
It's Henry Fonda and Jimmy Stewart, I'm led to believe, were very good friends. They made quite a few westerns together. So it kind of makes sense. I like that friendship between them, and Henry Fonda is great in this movie as Wyatt Earp. It's a far cry away from like a Kurt Russell Wyatt Earp in Tombstone from '93, but it's a really it is. I agree with what you say. It's a really well paced movie. It's a very sort of simple movie, but it's effective in that way. It's like Stagecoach in that it is very simple. It knows what it wants to do, and this must just be a John Ford thing.
I know what I want to do. Get out of my way. Let me do it.
That's an attitude that John Ford would have as well, because he would shout at people and say, "I know what I'm doing. Let me do it," which of course caused him to have some problems. Apparently there were some things in this movie that John Ford never actually wanted to do. I also find it's weird that it's called My Darling Clementine, and Clementine obviously is a character that has absolutely no need to be there, or any sort of historical fact at all. I don't believe there was nobody like this that actually existed. I think it was just an excuse to throw the song in there as well.
Most likely.
It's a good song.
Clementine could just represent, like, there's a life before all this Western carnage. Maybe they should just remind themselves of the family life they could have. So that's what I took the Clementine thing as.
Oh yeah, definitely. She's like that with Doc Holliday, at least. Doc Holliday is played by Victor Mature, which is a fantastic name.
Is his middle name Im, by any chance?
I have no idea what Victor Mature's middle name is. Oh no, his middle name is John. Victor Mature's middle name is John. It's but his name is actually Victor Mature, which is just a great name. But yeah, he plays Doc Holliday, and we have... Who else do we have? We have Ward Bond as Morgan Earp. Ward Bond, of course, also shows up in Rio Bravo. We also have Walter Brennan, who also shows up in Rio Bravo. Walter
Are you trying to
Brennan
make me like this movie or not?
No, I'm just saying there are people in westerns who made a lot of westerns, and they always showed up. Walter Brennan was Stumpy in Rio Bravo, and he is the father Clanton in the older guy in this movie. So it's cool. It's cool. I mean, what are some of your sort of standout moments of this film? Is there any sort of thematic things that really pulled you in?
There's three things that stood out to me: the gunshot, final shootout at the end, the whole thing with Clementine, and one of my favorite scenes was regarding the jewelry that she had, and there was this whole confusion about where she got it from.
Okay, well, why don't you go into that then? I'd like to hear you talk about that.
Well, I don't really know what to say about it, but it's just something that kind of drew me in because it gave an element of mystery to it. Like, where did this thing come from? Does it link to this other thing? What does it do for the story? That kind of stuff. It's just, I don't know. It's complicated, but anything.
Just a case of good storytelling,
more or less. And the whole thing with Clementine, I love that idea that because. Imagine back when this came out, you're trying to take your hardcore Western fan film bro to see this, and they hear it's called My Darling Clementine. I kind of like that this is more of an endearing Western than like a guns blazing Western.
It is, definitely. I like that. I like that you focus on the title, because it could very well be called, like some other Wyatt Earp movies have been called. It could be called A Gunfight at the OK Corral. Yeah, yes, I mean, it's about that, but I really like that sort of point that it hinges on the endearing aspect of it all, and with the title itself, maybe the title isn't in there just for a case of throwing the song in there. And I mean, it's a song that is very, very old American West, in the best way possible. But yeah, I really like that point. Clementine herself is this sort of, she seems like an ex of Doc Holliday.
I think she's like maybe the earliest example of the manic pixie dream girl.
Okay, explain that one.
Well, the Manic Pixie Dream Girl, as you know, is kind of this girl who exists in a story that is just like what a guy's perfect image of a girl is. Usually like, Cool Girl from Gone Girl or Cara Delevingne in most of her movies. But the way that's kind of dealt here is that she's just shown doing, I think at the time, what the Manic Pixie Dream Girl might have been. Does a lot of feminine stuff, loves her jewelry. She's always singing to them while serving them booze and that, and the fact that the whole kind of story is kind of, you think of that ending point where she says, I like that name, Clementine. Yeah. It's almost like they're treating her as if she's some object of desire, but not in like a crass way.
I get that. I mean, she's definitely affected Doc Holliday's life in the past, because he keeps imploring her to leave Tombstone and get out of Tombstone. Tombstone is a bad place for you, Clementine. Please, and whether that's his own issues. I actually found Doc Holliday to be quite the sort of most interesting guy in this. Well, you'll probably like this bit of trivia about Doc Holliday. Okay, go. Vincent Price was considered for the role. Oh, wow. Oh, this is nice early Price as well. This is 40s Price. Like I said, this movie is 1946. Oh. I do like Victor Mature's performance, but that bit of Vincent Price trivia, of course, has me quite excited. But to see what may have been from that, I think Price could have done it. I think Price could have. He does play very sort of affected people well. like emotionally affected people. Well, I remember when we were talking about House of Usher last Halloween on this very show with Kimber, and he in that Price plays a very emotionally affected, past has affected him kind of guy, and that seems to me what Doc Holliday was in this movie. It is the only Wyatt Earp movie I've ever seen. Is My Darling Clementine. I've never seen Tombstone, even though I probably should have done, because that is seemingly more of the popcorn, all guns blazing one. Like I said before, there's also Gunfight at the OK Corral, which I believe has Kirk Douglas in it. But yeah, this is the only Wyatt Earp, so I can only go off what this movie and history tells me. I don't believe Doc Holliday was a surgeon like he's shown in this movie. I think he was a dentist in real life.
Dentist is technically a surgeon, a teeth surgeon.
Well, I mean, he wouldn't have been able to perform the operation that he performs on Chihuahua. And speaking of Chihuahua, what do you make of Chihuahua? Who was played by Linda Darnell. I think Linda...
We've talked about how minorities are treated in the Westerns, and this is no exception.
No, it isn't. Speaking of that as well, there was actually like a really kind of... as soon as the Earps come into Tombstone, they have to deal with this Native American who's drunk and shooting up the saloon.
Oh my God.
That was kind of...
That was kind of racist.
It was kind of... It was a kind of get out of this town Indian kind of thing. It just like, yeah, okay. It's the 40s. Okay, we'll move past it. It was the 40s. In fact, it was set earlier. Obviously, there were tensions between European settlers and Native Americans, as we also saw in Stagecoach. I don't know, maybe if we end up watching other John Ford westerns, maybe Native Americans keep coming back as some sort of bad thing. I don't know. America. Very cruel to the native people. Very cruel. But yeah, Chihuahua is... I think she's a good character, because she adds another layer to Doc Holliday, in the sense that she's like Doc's current female counterpart, should we say?
I suppose.
And even though she's kind of like she's kind of spiteful, especially when Clementine comes into town.
Cat fights, another thing of the 40s.
There's a little bit of like, I don't want anything to do with you, please leave, he's mine kind of a deal. Which, take it as you want to take it, but I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily great to be... I mean, she is supposed to be Mexican, yet there is absolutely no reason to believe that other than the fact that her name is Chihuahua. And I've got no idea why her name is Chihuahua. Maybe, in fact, she's not Mexican. Maybe she was just born in the Chihuahua region of Mexico and then came to Tombstone. I don't know. But, yeah, minorities don't tend to be portrayed wonderfully in these movies, especially when we're looking at westerns. This also makes us think of Carlos from Rio Bravo.
Oh, Jesus.
Who, although he had quite a bit to do in that movie, like Chihuahua does in this movie, they're not necessarily three-dimensional people. So, moving on a bit in the conversation. You, I mean, what do you make of the Earps themselves?
As in the characters?
Yeah, as in the characters, as in what they do in this movie. Do you have some sort of they come into the town. They were on a cattle drive. They were trying to get to California with all the cattle. They go into Tombstone for the night, leave the cattle with James Earp. James Earp gets murdered. All the cattle are gone. It's the Clantons that have done this because they're the sort of local cattle people. And yes, and they basically after Wyatt deals with the drunk Native American in the saloon, he basically just says, "You've got to be marshal now. Please be marshal," and because he's already been marshal of another town, so he's got a.
Well, I like the idea of the unlikely heroes. People just going about their business and they get kind of drawn into a whole mess. Maybe they didn't even invite it, but it's just like a matter of circumstance. Then, of course, the whole hero's journey thing happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of reminiscent of Man with No Name movies with Clint Eastwood. He will ride into a town, he will deal with a problem, and he will end up leaving the town. Very similar to what Wyatt Earp does in this movie. Because Wyatt Earp doesn't stay in Tombstone after the fight. His brothers are dead. But, I mean, obviously, in real life, Wyatt Earp, I believe... No, he wasn't the only survivor, but he was the only unharmed member of the whole gunfight.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like I said before, he lived well into the 1920s. So, it's kind of fun because it's the kind of mix, and again, let's bring up High Noon. It's the kind of mix that you find in High Noon between the community western and the lone wolf western.
I get that being a mix, yeah.
Of course, Stagecoach was a community western, right? And Rio Bravo was a community western. High Noon has the lone wolf element because they leave at the end. They end up getting over this place, and you see it straight from the beginning. Because the Earps, they come into Tombstone, they deal with what they've got to do in Tombstone, and then Wyatt Earp ends up leaving. Even though, Clementine's there, he kisses Clementine goodbye, and apparently John Ford didn't want any of that. He never wanted any sort of romance between Clementine and Wyatt Earp in this movie, but the producer almost forced it upon him because it's, that's what draws crowds, right? Romance draws crowds. And it's all about the money, Nolan. It's all about the money.
Yep. And one person I don't think we've mentioned yet, who I thought was kind of a decent villain, Old Man Clanton.
Old Man Clanton is kind of a decent villain. He's a nasty guy. Yeah. But he's kind of a low key nasty guy because he's not outright. And you meet him at the beginning. You meet him right at the beginning, and he seems to be spying on the Earps as they're on this cattle drive, because he is the local cattle man in Tombstone, and he doesn't want someone coming in and taking over that whole business. But yeah, I mean, it's fairly clear, even though you don't know, and even if you didn't know the history, that the Clantons murdered James Earp at the beginning because all the cattle were gone as well.
Then they took that Silver Cross, gave it to Chihuahua. That's what creates that whole thing.
Yeah, and like you said before, that's a good element of the story, I think.
That's kind of like a mystery element that kind of I dug.
It's because it leads Wyatt Earp to believe that Doc Holliday murdered James. Because Chihuahua told Wyatt that Doc had given her the jewelry, which was, I don't know why she said that. It was not true, but it leads to a little bit of a conflict in the middle of this movie between Wyatt and Doc, and some really beautiful shots of riding horses and stagecoaches in Monument Valley. Again, there's a reason John Ford loved to shoot his westerns in Monument Valley. It's because it looks that good.
I believe he got mad at an actor who couldn't mount a horse, but then responded back with, "I've won 3 Oscars."
Yeah, that's Walter Brennan. That's Stumpy from Rio Bravo, Old Man Clanton. Which that's a good piece of trivia as well. Walter Brennan won 3 acting Oscars, all supporting actor. Yeah, I don't think anyone else has ever done that. I'm not sure anyway. I'm not too keen on that Oscars history. I think he was nominated for 4 and won 3. So well done, Stumpy. I'm gonna keep calling him Stumpy, even though I like Stumpy from Rio Bravo. Nolan, please don't hate me.
I don't hate you, no. But apparently the audience didn't really care for this movie because it didn't do so well at the box office.
Did it not?
Its budget was $2 million. It made not even $3 million. It made $2.7 million back, I think.
Well,
not a very profitable Western.
I mean, maybe look at the 1946. People are just coming out of World War II. I think this was John Ford's first Western since Stagecoach.
Post-war Western.
Post-war Western, maybe that's why it's kind of a bit endearing and a bit nice. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it being nice. You know, it's not like High Noon that's quite sort of intense and makes you think a bit. This is a very simple thing that we're watching here. We are watching, you know, one side versus another side, lawmen versus criminals. It's that kind of thing. Similar to Rio Bravo, but this is tighter. It's more enjoyable to watch, I feel. It's also, I don't want to say it's quieter, but maybe it's just more, I think it is quieter, but it sort of it drew me in more. I felt myself during Rio Bravo last week, you know, looking at my phone a bit, pottering about doing other things.
Where I wasn't looking at my phone, but I was just shaking my head in anger at Rio Bravo.
Well, yeah, but we don't need to talk about it anymore.
No, with this one, I was fairly involved.
Yeah, I mean,
it had all those
it's
fun
entertaining.
elements in it.
Yeah, it's entertaining, and like I said before, I love Henry Fonda. I think Henry Fonda's great. I want to watch more Henry Fonda westerns, because the only other Henry Fonda western I've seen apart from this is Once Upon a Time in the West, where he actually plays a villain. So, and that's all that, and that's a really interesting western to maybe look into one day on this show.
Oh, there you go. Then
I would like to do that, but yeah, he plays Wyatt Earp really, really well, really captivating, and it is helped a lot by the direction and just the way it's simple camera movement that is so very, very effective. I think we said this in Stagecoach as well. I think this is what John Ford seems to do really, really well. He doesn't overdo it. He just picks his locations right, and he picks his framing right every single time. And I really do like the more intense moments where they're riding the horses quickly, and it just really, really feels like that old, real, true western that we like to see.
Yeah, it doesn't feel pretentious at all, or like snobby, or anything like that.
Not at all. I think it's not necessarily a feel-good movie. It's not necessarily a popcorn movie.
I don't think westerns are feel-good movies anyway. They usually have an element of tragedy to them.
Yes, but I mean, okay, let's try and think of a feel-good western. Young Guns. Young Guns, feel-good western. Is Tombstone itself a feel-good western? I don't know. I haven't seen Tombstone, but it's the same story, but it's more of a popcorn, which makes sense for 1993, I suppose, as opposed to 1946. I do think the cinematography is beautiful in this, though. And it is shot like Stagecoach is shot, and that makes sense. Same director.
All on location by a guy who knows what
location.
he's doing.
By a guy who knows exactly what he's doing, yeah. And I believe, well, Tombstone, the real town of Tombstone, is nowhere near Monument Valley. So they had to build the town as a set close to Monument Valley just to please John Ford. Just because John Ford insisted, no, we have to shoot in Monument Valley. That's what I like to do. And it's just, okay,
Build
John.
me a Monument Valley, peasants.
It's like, okay,
Dance,
John.
monkeys, dance.
I don't know. I don't know what other people feel about directors who are kind of nasty to people, but the product they create is very good.
You know what I feel about those kind of directors?
I do. I know you don't like them, but again, you can't deny John Ford knows how to shoot these movies.
I can't deny that, no.
He does it so well. And if you look at a picture of John Ford, yes, he does look like a very small, stubborn man. Which is kind of funny. He's got those little round spectacles on.
Ford looks like.
Look at a
I'm gonna judge him immediately.
Look at a picture of John Ford. He's got those little round glasses on.
I'm gonna judge him immediately by what he looks like.
And
let's see. Oh my god.
See, doesn't he look like the most stubborn human being?
He looks like the Penguin. With that fucking pipe in his mouth.
Oh, he kind of does look like the Penguin a bit. Although he's not as penguin-shaped as the Penguin. I don't know. The man is very good at what he did. He won plenty of Oscars for it.
He inspired Orson Welles as well.
Oh, I'm sure he did. I believe this movie was also one of Sam Peckinpah's favourite westerns, and he went on to direct a whole bunch of famous westerns. I think he did Did he do the Wild Bunch? Did Sam Peckinpah? Am I just throwing names around you now?
More or less. I know nothing about Western history. You know more about it than I do.
Sam Peckinpah did do the Wild Bunch. I have got that right. Yay, trivia. I like that. Okay. Moving on with the conversation. You also brought up that you did like the gunfight at the end, even though it is a famously quick gunfight.
Yeah, because
what was it about that?
It's more that every bullet in it has a meaning. It's not like
ooh, I like that.
It's not like a massacre kind of thing. It's not like when you've had a bad day at work and you come home and throw on some Red Dead Redemption.
Is that what you do on Red Dead Redemption? Again, I spend most of my time on it hunting.
I'd spend most time on it hunting too, but I'm hunting bad guys.
No, I'm hunting like some nice elk, or maybe the odd wolf. But okay, I'm not going to shoot these things in real life. There's no consequence. I need the clothes.
I know. All right, we'll stop judging you for what you do on Red Dead Redemption.
Well, I'm judging you. You're just shooting innocent human beings.
I'm not shooting innocent human beings. I'm shooting like bandits.
You're going into towns and you're shooting up the place, aren't you? I know your game.
I'm shooting up the bad guys.
Okay. I believe you.
Like
sure.
The guys who keep challenging me to 5-finger fillet, and I don't want to fucking play it.
Well, you don't have to. You just say, no, I'm not playing this right now.
That's a dangerous fucking game, by the way.
It is. Don't try and do that. I'm glad I've never actually watched anyone do that in real life. I would not want to. That sounds absolutely awful.
Yeah, but what I mean by the whole bullet has a meaning thing is that it's sort of going for the whole less is more thing. Yeah. It's almost, but also it could mean literally maybe they've only got a couple of bullets between them and they want to make sure each one counts.
That's probably very true. That was probably very true in real life. No one's showing up to this with, 4 rifles on them.
There's no cheat codes for unlimited ammo.
No. That's probably that part is probably quite historically accurate. And like I said before, John Ford and Wyatt Earp himself had this, apparently according to John Ford, had this conversation about what the gunfight was like. So maybe that element is quite historically accurate, the fact that there wasn't too many bullets shot. I know it was a very quick fight. It was only like a 30-second fight in real life, I believe. Something like that.
Most gunfights probably would only be like 30 seconds or a minute.
But yeah, I mean, look at the gunfight at the end of The Good, Bad and the Ugly, which lasts about 3 seconds. Apart from all the
Bang.
build-up, but the shooting lasts about 3 seconds because it's just bang, bang, done. Thanks, bye. Of course, that movie has a lot of wonderfulness to it as well. That is one of my favourite westerns. But this, for the simple western, for the simple small town western, My Darling Clementine has gone right up in my favourites for what it is. It's not got the scale of a Stagecoach, I don't think, because I don't think it's quite got the... It doesn't have to be, because Stagecoach is about the journey, right? Mm-hmm. This is about the town. This is about the conflict within this town, rather than any sort of journey that anybody's going on. There's not really too many character arcs in this, apart from the simple one of Wyatt Earp coming in, dealing with it and going, which is, okay. But as a simple western, this is right up there with High Noon for me right now.
I'd probably agree with that.
In what it does really well. And I am very much growing to very, very much like John Ford's style of making them, because, like you said with the bullets, less is more. Simplicity is the key. You don't have to be, painted and staged like Rio Bravo seemed. You don't even have to be overly stylized like the spaghetti westerns were in the 60s, like Sergio Leone's spaghetti westerns, like I brought up before, Once Upon a Time in the West and The Good, Bad and the Ugly, and the whole Man with No Name trilogy. These are great westerns. Those are wonderful westerns, the spaghetti westerns, but they are very, very stylized, which works perfectly for those. But to show the contrast in the genre and be able to make a simple, quiet western this well, like a real, the American western rather than the European western, which is another name for the spaghetti western. It's nice to see that there is at least a bit of genre variety, or at least a bit of variety within the genre of westerns.
I would definitely agree with that. I like there's different approaches to it. It gives it more of a range. That way I'm not watching every western being like, I've seen this before. This would probably be up there with High Noon for me as well. I'd say for my top 3 westerns of all time, it'd probably be High Noon, True Grit, and this.
You like True Grit, though? Or is that the Jeff Bridges True Grit?
Well, they're both kind of the same story.
They are. But I'm just saying, which one do you like? You like the John Wayne?
I mean, I'm a huge Coen Brothers fan, so... Yeah,
it's Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
It's Jeff Bridges. No, that's fair enough. I didn't think you would be saying the John Wayne Western after your discussion of John Wayne last week.
Yeah.
Kind
Whereas
of why
Jeff Bridges is a delightful man.
Jeff Bridges is, by all accounts, a delightful man. It's kind of why I didn't want to do another John Wayne movie this week, just because I knew what you'd be saying about it. And it's nice to have variety as well. We have a Henry Fonda Western here. What do you make of Henry Fonda, by the way? I think I rambled enough about Henry Fonda.
No, I agree with most of what you said. He's charming, he's endearing, he's likable, he's not a dick, and he's a cool hero.
And do you know what Henry Fonda is now a part of, Nolan?
A cemetery?
No, he's now a part of the Mustache Hall of Fame.
Fair enough. And also a cemetery.
And also, yes, a cemetery. But Henry Fonda is now an official member of the Mustache Hall of Fame. Well done, Henry Fonda, for your role as Wyatt Earp. And Nolan, guess what? I've finally done it.
What?
I've got an entire list of the Mustache Hall of Fame.
Have you actually written this down somewhere?
I've written them down. I'm looking at my phone right now. I have them written down.
You should get some parchment paper and write some fucking calligraphy, the Mustache Hall of Fame.
With a drawing of the each mustache next to it. I should do that.
Get
That's
a tea
great.
bag, let it cool down, dip it on the paper.
Make it look old-timey and dated. But yes, I want to make everyone aware of the current roster of the Mustache Hall of Fame.
Please do.
From what I could remember, and from what seems obvious throughout the whole 39 episodes that we are now on of It's a Wonderful Podcast, the latest one, of course, being Henry Fonda as Wyatt Earp. I mean, we could put Ward Bond in as well as Morgan Earp, who also has a mustache, but I don't think it's quite as nice as Henry Fonda's. Mm-hmm. I take the Mustache Hall of Fame very seriously, Nolan.
I can see that.
But yeah, before Henry Fonda, we had John Carradine in Stagecoach, who had that lovely pencil mustache that was quite long. We had Nigel Bruce in The Hound of the Baskervilles, Dr. Watson. He's in the Mustache Hall of Fame. We have the entirety of Captain Nemo's French crew from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea are in the Mustache Hall of Fame. We have Bela Lugosi in The Wolfman for that weird thing he has. That was the episode that you were not here for, and that I had to do with Brandon Hanna. For. Yes. We have, now here's one to look back on. We have the from Fantastic Planet, which was that wonderfully weird sci-fi animated movie we did all the way back in Animation Month. We have the Chief Ohm, who had a great mustache, apparently. Captain Hook.
Did we give George Darling entrance into it as well?
Well, no. He's the same person.
Fair
Captain Hook is in the Mustache Hall of Fame. Errol Flynn is in the Mustache Hall of Fame for Robin Hood. Vincent Price is in the Mustache Hall of Fame. Laurence Olivier and Clark Gable. The first entrant into the Mustache Hall of Fame was Clark Gable in episode 6, I believe, for It Happened One Night.
I can't believe how far this running gag has gone.
No, it's not a gag anymore. It was a gag to begin with, I'll admit. It was a pure gag to begin with. It is no longer a gag. This is very serious. I'm creating the Mustache Hall of Fame of It's a Wonderful Podcast. I can't wait to see who goes on next. It's so fun. But yes, welcome Henry Fonda to the Mustache Hall of Fame.
If we've got a logo, right, we should get one for the Mustache Hall of Fame.
We should get a logo for the Mustache Hall of Fame. What a great idea. I wonder who we could get to do the logo. That's an obvious...
Boss Logic?
That's an obvious answer. That's an obvious... Think of the obvious answer. It's the obvious
I know who
answer.
it is.
Shrek. So, Shrek. Shrek is exactly who we want to design the logo. You had to throw the reference in. It always has to be in there. I love it.
Actually, that did come up in school this week, weirdly.
Shrek?
Yeah. And it's just been on my mind since.
Please explain how Shrek came up in school. I don't want to talk about My Darling Clementine anymore. I want to talk about this.
It was a marketing thing.
Of Shrek?
Yeah, how he was used to market, like, kids' cereals and that.
Okay.
It was weird.
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
And then how the internet turned him into a sexual icon for no reason.
Well, yeah, that is true. It did do that.
I'd turn Henry Fonda into a sexual icon.
I mean, that's fair. He's a very handsome gentleman.
He is.
He's a perfectly good-looking man. Of course, the patriarch of the acting legend Fonda family.
Oh yeah.
It includes Jane Fonda and Peter Fonda, and someone else who was in Jackie Brown. What's her? Not Patricia. Who was in Jackie Brown? Someone Fonda. Bridget Fonda.
Mm-hmm. A lot of Fondas.
A lot of Fondas. They're a good acting family, a good legendary Hollywood family, and Henry Fonda started all that.
I bet they
he's
like fondant
wonderful.
fancies.
Fondant fancies. What is a fondant fancy?
It's some kind of confectionery sweet. It's basically icing in a block.
Oh, I think I know what a fondant fancy is. Are they like pink and yellow and...
Yep.
Yeah, I know what a fondant fancy is. I haven't had one of those in years. Oh my god. That's ridiculous. Okay. Anyway, my darling Clementine, let's start to wrap up this discussion here, because it's not an overly long movie. It's about an hour 35. It's kind of nice. Like we said before, it's kind of simple, but it does what it does very well. Nolan, do you have any final-ish thoughts on My Darling Clementine?
This is the kind of Western that I like, because it's not made to try and prove anything. It's just telling a really endearing story, and I think it probably came out at the perfect time around the whole post-war thing. Just have a nice sort of endearing Western, as opposed to let's go to the saloon and do what men's rights activists do on Red Dead Redemption.
Ugh. No, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't even think about doing that.
Or what they do when they see Gillette adverts.
Or what they do when they see Gillette adverts. Oh, that was a state. Oh dear. I do hate people.
Yep.
Nolan, I do hate people. I hate people so much. Oh my god.
I'm going to go shave with a Gillette razor after this, because I thought it was a very well done advertisement.
It was a perfect advertisement. People need to...
And no doubt I'm going to be learning about it in class next week.
It just depresses me. It just depresses me how people can be so just... Ugh. I'm sorry.
That's the perfect way to describe them. Blurs.
It is.
Let's forget about the blurs for a minute.
Forget about the blurs. Well done, Gillette. And well done, My Darling Clementine. And well done, Gillette, for perhaps providing the razor that shaved Henry Fonda's mustache. Although they probably didn't. I don't know when Gillette started as a company.
Back then, they probably used those razors that look like knives.
It would be straight razors, but yeah.
Those things freak me out.
Oh, I love them. I love straight razors. I've had straight razor shaves at to do my beard, to do some of the lines and the definition. Sometimes
I'm scared if a barber uses those.
No, I mean,
because they look like weapons.
No, I mean they could very easily slit a human being's throat.
I've seen them slit human beings' throats
very, very easily, but I trust the barber, and you should too. It's nice to trust people, Nolan.
I'm sure it is.
I trust John Ford to make good westerns. Segways, yes. Okay. Well, I'll say some final stuff while we are about to start wrapping up the show before we get into the odd bit of, 10-minute usual silliness at the end. Which is, I want to watch more John Ford westerns now. My Darling Clementine is great. It's a very easy movie to watch. It's a very entertaining movie to watch without being overly loud and violent and sort of aggressive. I love the point that you made about it being a nice post-war movie, because everybody is sort of miserable, obviously, during wartime. Nobody wants to... They want to feel good after a war's finished. Mm-hmm. They want to just reinforce the good feelings they have, and this is a movie to done that. The lawman wins, the lawman moves on to presumably help out another place, right? Perfect. It's exactly what you want. It's a great western, and I love talking about westerns. And it's not necessarily like this over sort of masculine type of guy either. He just does what he does. He's not John Wayne in the sense that he's trying to be very, very manly and in charge all the time. He just does what he has to do. In that sense, he's more of the complex man that we find in High Noon as well, with Gary Cooper. Henry Fonda's Wyatt Earp in this movie is very akin to that, and I think that's why I liked it really well. Really a lot. I can't speak anymore. Really a lot, I've just said. What am I talking about, Nolan? I don't know.
R.E. Alley a lot.
R.E. Alley a lot. R.E. Alley? You don't say that. Nobody says that.
Well, I just did.
Please don't start saying that.
I'm going to start spelling words from now on instead of saying them.
Well, Nolan, to save yourself spelling anymore, this is not a spelling bee. If it was a recorded... Imagine how boring a recorded spelling bee would be.
I mean, with us, it might be fun.
With us, it might be fun because we'd end up spelling either ridiculous words or refusing to do it outright. Or I'd just have you spell the names of random actors you've never heard of. But we do have one Western left to go in Western Month.
We do.
We have done Stagecoach. We have done Rio Bravo. We have done now My Darling Clementine. It is Nolan's pick for next week, the final of Western Month. Nolan has chosen...
BUTCH space CASSIDY space AND space THE space SUNDANCE space KID.
And in English...
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Wonderful. Why'd you choose Butch Cassidy? Have you ever seen Butch Cassidy before? Or Butch and Sundance, I should say.
I haven't, but I know it's one of Robert Redford's early movies.
It is Robert Redford, Paul Newman. I watched Butch and Sundance a couple of years ago now, probably, for the first time. It's very, very fun. It's probably the most fun of these four we've done this month. And
some trivia for you. I know it's Taylor Kitsch's favourite movie because that's what he said when I met him.
That is a nice bit of trivia, actually. That's a weird one to pull as well. I like that. I like that a lot. But yeah, Butch and Sundance next week, guys. So look forward to that. I'm excited for you to see it for the first time because it's kind of funny as well in parts. It's
Good.
it's really unique to the other three we've done this month. I think that's what makes these genre months fun, is we end up picking... It's the same genre, but we end up picking quite different movies for all the 4 weeks that we do. It just shows variety in genre. And we've done 3 now. I don't know what genre month we're going to end up doing next. What would you like to do next? I mean, not that it'll be next month, but what do you think?
I'd love to do musical month sometime.
I would love to do musical month, I would absolutely. Musical May. What about musical May?
Ooh, that's good.
I think musical more. Even if we want to do it soon, musical March.
Actually, musical March makes more sense because marching to music.
Yes, it. Let's. Do you know what? Screw it. We're gonna do it. Musical March. Here we come.
That should be your new catchphrase.
Screw it.
Screw it, we're going to do it.
Screw it, we're going to do it. Musical March. Get ready for that, guys. Who knows what the hell sort of musicals will be done. We've only actually officially done one musical on this show, which was West Side Story, all those months ago.
Wow. Well, I've got some research to do. I know a lot of good musicals.
Yeah, it'd give me an excuse to talk about one of my absolute favourite movies of all time as well, which I'm not going to divulge here. But if you know me fairly well, you might know this. I don't know if you'd know this, but no, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to leave it until we actually do it, because it will definitely be one of my picks for musical March, and I like that. So yeah, that is Western Month on It's a Wonderful Podcast. This has been episode 39 of the show on My Darling Clementine, John Ford's My Darling Clementine from 1946, with Henry Fonda and Walter Brennan and Ward Bond and Linda Darnell. And who played Clementine, Nolan?
I don't know.
I don't know either. An orange. Yeah, an orange. That was good. I like that joke. I appreciate that joke. I'm just going to find out who played Clementine just before we leave. Victor Mature, of course, as Doc Holliday, let's not forget. And Kathy Downs as Clementine.
There we go.
Applause to everyone involved. This was a great movie, and it's been a hell of a lot more of a positive discussion than last week.
Which I like being positive.
Nolan, have you been up to anything fun recently?
I've been playing through the Arkham games again.
Oh, lovely. Now you're talking my talk.
I haven't played them in years, and...
Oh, they're so good.
I know, but the Riddler's really getting on my nerves.
Which one are you on?
I'm on Arkham City now, which is my favourite one.
Yes, it is my favourite one too. Why is the... I love the Riddler.
In Arkham Asylum, fair enough, you can actually get to the riddles and stuff, but in Arkham City, it's like you've got to back-claw your way across half the city, fuck a duck, and then do something upside down to get the trophy.
But it requires more thought. I am the proud 100% completionist of Batman Arkham City. So
oh Christ.
I can't remember when I did that, but I have done it. It was a few years ago. I know the game came out in like 2011. But yeah, I think that's the only. I mean, I'm not a huge gamer, but that's the only video game I've ever 100%. That's the only video game like that I've 100% completed.
And also, because you know me, I'll have been replaying the Far From Home trailer a million times.
Oh, I'm sure you have. Do you know what? Let's talk about that for 5 minutes, because I mean, I haven't seen it because I'm not. You know me and trailers. I was more interested in the Game of Thrones Season 8 trailer, even though that wasn't sort of hugely
No,
telling.
but I am assuming that you saw the thing on Twitter where fucking Mysterio took over Twitter for the whole day.
I did see, I have seen screenshots as well. I did see that Mysterio looks very good, I must admit, from the screenshots, but no, I haven't seen the trailer. I can only assume it's going to be a good movie. What are your thoughts on the trailer?
The trailer was fun.
Try and keep it because I haven't seen it.
Well, you've seen the screenshots of Mysterio, and that's all I can really say.
Okay.
And I love that he has the fishbowl head.
Yeah, you've been going on about that for ages and ages and ages, and I think it's only right because that is what the character looks like. So.
And it's Jake fucking Gyllenhaal. How can I not be excited about that?
It is Jake Gyllenhaal.
And Raoul would kill me if I didn't mention this. Tonight I'm going to be watching Unbreakable and Split, because tomorrow I'm going to go see Glass.
Wonderful. I've heard Glass getting mixed things.
If it's getting mixed things, that tells me it's aiming high and not playing it safe. So either it's going to be bad or good in an interesting way. That's
probably very, very true. And I will see Glass, I'm sure, at some point soon myself. And I'm looking forward to it too, because I really like Split. I do like Unbreakable. And I really like Split. Even though I didn't think necessarily, I almost preferred Split when it was its own movie. But
That's fair.
I'm going back to see The Beast and Patricia and whoever else James McAvoy's come up with.
And I'm going to go back to enjoying my favourite part of the Arkham City game, which I'm playing right now, where it's Penguin and Mr. Freeze in the museum.
Yes. You're making me want to go back, but I'm not going to go back. I can't justify going back and playing any more of that, even though it's great. I love it. Nolan, I love it.
I know.
And I'm struggling. No.
You love it as much as I love Mysterio.
Probably true.
Mm-hmm.
Probably very, very true. But yes, thank you guys for listening to this week's episode 39, like we said, Talking My Darling Clementine. Nolan, where can the good listeners find you?
They can find me at NolanDean27 on Twitter. They can find me on Instagram at my Instagram name.
Yes.
Yeah, and hopefully you'll be able to see something new from me on the Stories as Lessons side soon, but I'm planning something special for it.
Very
so
nice.
It's taking a little bit more time.
Well, you take your time. The content quality will be worth it. Guys, you can find me on Twitter and follow me over there at the Purple Don with a 3 instead of the E in the, because 3 is the magic number. You can also find the podcast on Twitter at It's a Wonderful One with a number 1. Use the hashtag It's a Wonderful One as well. If you want to talk to us about Western Month, are you excited for Musical March that we've now just spur of the moment decided to do? It's going to be fun. I like it. It gives me an excuse to sing some more as well. No.
Oh, but will you be singing in a French accent?
Will I be singing in a French accent? Who knows? It depends if we do a French musical or not. If we do Les Miserables, which we're not going to do.
I don't want to do that. I don't want a musical that's going to depress me.
No, fun music. Only fun musicals allowed. That's actually a lie. We've done more than one musical because Scrooge 1971 was a musical that we did for Christmas. So yeah, what else can you do? You find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on Stitcher, Castbox, and Podbean, which is the hosting site where we host it all, and it distributes the podcast around your favourite podcast listening service. It's very nice. Yeah. So please go on over there and leave us nice big 5-star reviews and say something nice about us, because if you say something nice about us or give us a tweet of loving support, we will read them out on the show. And it takes a while for some reason for me to see Apple Podcasts reviews that we get. So if it's a while before or if it's a while after that we end up reading it out, please don't be alarmed. Your review is probably there, but I just haven't seen it yet, so I can't read it out if I haven't seen it. But that is beside the point. Thank you very much, as always, for listening. And that's it from me, so there's only one thing left to do, and it's absolutely not shoot Nolan in the face. Nolan, see us out.
THANKS space FOR space LISTENING space. Guys, thanks for listening. Goodbye.
I refuse to let this become a running gag. I refuse it. Bye, guys.